Yeah, my wife said it to me, and then I heard Joe Rogan say it to somebody else on one of his podcasts. He said, "Look, man, it is hard to get over mentally in your life that there's not a better house for you. There's not a better. I want a plane. I want a better car. I want a better thing in life, and you wonder where that ends."
And it's honestly kind of weird for someone like me because you know me, I have super inexpensive tastes. I'm a foodie, so I love good booze and good food.
Good food, yeah.
But everything else, I mean, I enjoy having a nice house, but even if I made a shit ton of money, there's nothing I want. I don't even want a boat. I mean, maybe some land. That's about it. But
you do have a TV on your fridge.
That is true. But I'm not really. Shit like that doesn't amp me. More like creating and seeing people laugh and having them feel a part of something that you've built with your friends is so much. That's where I get my value in life from.
So hypothetical, Black Rifle sells for $100 million tomorrow. What does Matt Best do the rest of his life after that he would enjoy, but would also fulfill kind of that competitiveness in business to succeed in something else?
Well, I guess if you create financial independence in your own life, essentially you have the ability to focus on exactly what makes you happy. I mean, obviously there's certain components in my professional career at this point that I have to do because it's monetary gain for my family, and I'd like to own a house outright and yada yada. I've been investing my money since contracting. So I mean, if I had complete financial independence, I'd rally my best friends who are also my business partners, to include you,
right?
And we would say, what fucking awesome shit can we create to bring value to people's lives? I mean, that's really what we're trying to do now. But obviously,
I think I do these shows every fucking day. Like I don't think this would change if we were all in the same place and living together. I think I'd do one of these every morning and then kind of
it's kind of like drinking bros.
Figure out the rest of the day.
It's a structure to friendship. So we know that at least twice a week, all of us have to get on a call together or in person and laugh.
Yeah,
like, that's awesome. It's selfish because it's fun for us.
Yeah,
if it brings value to other people's life, it's a win-win.
I enjoy everything. Because this question was posed to me as well. I enjoy everything in life that I'm doing now, and I don't know how much of it would be that different. To be honest with you, I would still do shows every day. I would still write a book.
I would take my wife on a honeymoon.
Yes,
that would be step one. So tomorrow, I'd be like, guys, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm going to Phuket, Thailand, and I'm eating delicious food and banging my wife.
Yeah, I'd retire my family. I would help out anybody who needed with houses and all that shit. Get everybody squared away, college squared away. I'm surprisingly, for how fucking crazy I am, I'm a safety first type of guy, both financially and
both of us are very
life.
Similar.
Yeah. Where it's all right, great. The first big thing that I did once my company started making money and all of that shit was an insurance policy. For my wife, wills, like all of that stuff. I didn't go out and buy a car. I didn't go and buy a trip. I didn't do anything. I made sure financially, like everything was squared away. So if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, that was the thing.
See, I'm probably pretty terrible in that sense too. So I have zero debt, which
is great,
right? But then I don't buy anything unless I have a significant amount of backlog. Like, hey, I can live 3 years,
right,
in this way. So because people are like, oh man, like got that. Whatever, the first check of your book, what are you doing with it? I'm like, oh, I bought into my savings account, or I put it back into one of my businesses, because it's just like, I have hyper anxiety about that kind of stuff.
Same thing with the book. First check, every dollar went to an investment property. Nothing, like not one. I think we celebrated with Wings. My wife and I always go to Wings, and that's our big like, oh, hey.
It's weird, and I'm not taking away from anybody that has expensive taste and loves the watches and cars and that. I guess I grew up like not poor, but not well off, and I've never had a hand-me-down my whole entire life. And I'm not trying to be a martyr here, but
no.
My biggest fantasy of like if I ever got a big payday one day would be like retiring my mom and dad, because they both work. My mom's in her 60s, my father's in his 70s, and they're phenomenal parents. And I would just love to be like, hey mom, you can work, but that's just for your fucking pocket money. Your house is paid off.
Yeah, your mortgage is done.
Yeah.
We're all done with that. Yeah.
That to me would be like fucking so dope.
Yeah, and the way I grew up was very similar, where we didn't have that much money. It was always check to check. My dad was doing other jobs because he was starting a company out of the basement and got bigger and bigger, but they didn't explode and do well until I was gone after like college.
Right.
So I grew up with that chain eating motherfucker. like literally, and that was our big meal. Like if we went to Olive Garden or
We made it.
yeah, exactly. It was like, oh man, Red Lobster. If we went to Red Lobster,
It's the jam.
oh yeah, we had made it that month where it was like, oh man, I can get the scampi and like the other, like another side.
When you
dish.
look at your dad, they're like, any appetizers?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you look over like, what do you want, son? You're like, oh my God, we get an appetizer.
It was like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
As soon as those mozzarella sticks hit the table, I was like, whoa, we're eating like little tiny kings tonight.
Yeah.
You start treating the wait
You
staff
got
differently.
Outback, the flaming onion. You're like, oh God, yes.
Yeah. And again, you start treating the waitresses around you differently. No. I will take more of those Cheddar Bay biscuits, please. Thank you.
I would hate to inconvenience you, but I asked for standard horseradish, not creamy, please. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got an appetizer if you didn't see that. I obviously have the coin.
Ranch for everything, please. Ranch for everything. So that was my upbringing as well. So like whenever we go to celebrate things, that still carried over. Like before I got my first movie, like the big movie, New Guy. I think we went to Sizzler that night. And I had made a decent 6-figure payday and all that stuff. Sizzler. Every other meeting since has been wings. Where besides if our agents or something takes us out and they're like, hey, we're getting $1,000 bottle of wine or whatever, and that's on us. Like,
I get it if it's like company stuff, but we've been in those meetings like, well, we're gonna treat you to real nice. I'm like, hey, Buffalo Wild Wings, like the grilled chicken sandwich, man. I'm good on that. Tell you what, buy me 2 beers too.
Yeah,
top notch.
Good to go, bro. And if it's a lunch, I can butt fuck a Panera bread.
Oh, dude,
I can really get down on that. But other people look down on it like, oh god, it's Panera. Food's great at Panera. I'm not gonna, and it's got something for everybody. They're not even a fucking sponsor. I know they should be.
Who does